You are listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast brought to you by Birmingham Live. Hello, welcome back to the Claret and Blue podcast. My name is Dan Rolinson. I'm joined this afternoon by Ashley Preece. It's a lovely sunny day. I've got a retro Villa shirt on, well, 2001 I think it is, if that counts as retro. I had a nice stroll in the sun this morning. So it's a nice day, isn't it? But it's international break and that's rubbish. Ash, how are you?
Yeah, all good, mate. Weather's good outside, and yeah, international break. It's just like Groundhog Day, isn't it?
They're boring, aren't they? I'm thinking, international break, let's talk about Villa, but it's Wednesday. We're like 3 days into it. I'm already fed up with it.
I know. But yeah, Thursday, Matty Cash against John McGinn. That could be a bit lively, but nothing much to chat about, really. A few of the youth lads are in action tonight at Walsall, Dan. Ira Boonham, Chuck Mowick, and Aaron Ramsey, England under 19s. So I don't know if a few Villa fans are heading down to the Banksies later. That should be quite decent. But yeah, I missed an international break, and we'll try and play through and look ahead at the season that's been, mate. So yeah. Yeah,
well, that's what we're here to do today. Something a little bit different. Almost when I'm kind of scheduling these, I'd call this a filler episode because we're not talking about current day Aston Villa, but not filler in the sense that we don't care about the content. It's just something a bit different. Yep. So I've got some clips together from our pre-season predictions. So the episode that we did in the Aston Inn, I tell you what, I'd love a Guinness that we had on that day today. That'd be lovely. Yeah. But I've picked out, I think there's 6 or 7 clips that I'm going to play back to us and the stream and the podcast. Welcome to people watching live, by the way. We're going to react to what we said, amend any predictions we want to do, potentially kind of laugh at ourselves, laugh at Matt and James as well, because they're not here to defend themselves like we are. And just like discuss what we said, how we feel then and how we feel now. So I don't really know what particular order to go with these. Should we have something like Player of the Year first?
Yeah, go on.
Do you remember what you said for that?
Player of the Year? I don't know.
You don't? Okay. Right, let's roll the clip then.
I'd like to think it would be an attacking player. Because that would mean that we've come out all guns blazing and that we're an exciting team. I'd love it to be Danny Ings because he scores 30 goals. I'd love it to be Buendia because he becomes, a real little gem, the next Benito Carboni or whatever, or a real fan's favourite in there.
I'm going to go with Matty Target. I think he'll...
That's a boring answer, isn't it, compared to that?
I think he'll be really impressive. I think he kicked on. I was speaking to my uncle about yesterday, thinking the first season Matt Target was here, how he seemed to be overrun, knocked about, push over, and he's kicked on. I mean, he doesn't look any different, but the mentality, I think he's got what it takes, and I think he'll be itching to prove himself without that link up with Grealish, and I think he could be a real threat.
And next to Target, Tyrone Mings, big year for him. I think he proved himself at the Euros. Came in, he spoke about his troubles, about a bit of self-doubt and that, and I think he'll come out after the Euros with a bit more confidence now, and we've seen it at stages last season when he come out the team. Villa were a bit ropey at the back, and his communication on the field is massive, and that's a key part of why Villa got 15 clean sheets last season. So if he kicks on again, and Martin has a good season, and if they have a good season, I think the lads up front, Ings, he's scoring goals, he's keeping clean sheets, you're going to win a lot of football matches. So big season for Tyrone. It'd be interesting if he gets the captaincy over the coming days. So yeah, big one for Mings.
I could see you watching that down the bottom of your face in thought about what you were saying. So if anyone who doesn't know, that was August 2021 where we made those predictions. I said Buendia, by the way, it wasn't in that clip. Obviously, there's still time for this to change. Player of the Year, it's not going to be settled just yet. I don't think it's going to be Danny Ings for scoring 30 goals. I don't think it's going to be Matty Target for his loan at Newcastle now.
No.
Interesting there that James talking about his mentality and will to prove himself, and he's no longer at the club. You went with Tyrone Mings. First of all, your reflection on those guys' predictions there, and who do you think it could be? Now we know a little bit more than we did back then.
Yeah, Danny Ings. I expected a bit more from Ings. 5 goals and 5 assists from Ings from his 18 games. Not too bad, to be honest, Dan. Looking back at Danny Ings, I know you want a bit more for 30 million quid, but when he's been in the team and he scored now and again, I know you want more goals than 5, but he's chipped in now and again, and yeah. It hasn't worked out for Ings this season, but there's hope. 9 games left. He can go on a bit of a scoring run and finish the season really well. But Matt Target, yeah, I could see where James was getting at with that. Obviously, he was players player last season, wasn't he? Thinking, go on, then get yourself an England team and go and perform really well. But yeah, Gerrard weren't keen on him as soon as he come in. Hence why they signed Luca Dina. And Matt Target said, "Thank you very much. I'll do one." And he's doing well at Newcastle though, so I think Villa will make a few quid on him in the summer. I think the deal's already there for that to happen, £15 million. And I think that'd be a decent little sum of money for Villa. I know you want more from a player like Target, but I think Villa need to start selling some players now and get decent fees for them. So Target will do that. I said, Tyrone Mings, I think he's been a bit up and down season for him. I think Villa are stronger when he's in the team, but a few mistakes crept into his game this season. He hasn't been as consistent as he would have liked. But it hasn't really happened for Mings either, to be honest, Dan. Hence why Villa are in the table. But player of the season, I think it's a two-horse race, probably with Matty Cash and Jacob Ramsey. Coutinho could come into that mix. I know he's been sensational, and with 9 games to go, plenty to play for. But I'd say one of Ramsey or Cash. I'm probably edging towards Ramsey, given his goal output and his general play. He's only 20 as well, so really exciting future for him. So one of them two. What about yourself?
Yeah, I was going to say exactly the same thing, and I was going to split the difference by saying Cash for Player of the Year and Ramsey for Young Player of the Year. As a cheeky way of getting around it, just as a 20-year-old. But as you're talking, then I think it's really difficult to pick a Player of the Season, and that probably sums up Villa having a pretty average season, doesn't it? To finish somewhere between 9th and 13th or whatever. So not the best. So there's a clip here about the youth prospects.
Okay,
and I've included this because my question was, who from the youth academy will break through into the first team and make an impact this year? And I'll play the clip in a second, but nobody said Ramsey. Now, I don't know whether that was because we kind of already took Ramsey as already broken through, or whether we just underrated his impact entirely. But I'll play the clip and then let you see what you think.
We all see him in the flesh, and he looks really exciting, Ash. So.
Yeah. He had a really good pre-season as well. He's 2 goals, 2 assists from 4 games. Really stood out. Leipzig were really interested in him as well, so Villa got him on a new deal. And Dean Smith said he needs to work on his end product, and I think his defensive duties are now really there for all to see. And we had a really good pre-season. I think 19-year-old, and he'll be in and around the mix, I'm sure.
Like I said, I mentioned Carney Chukwuemeka. I think he's got that physicality, and he's got that kind of real belief and that real swagger. I'd like to see him. It's going to be 10 minutes here or there, but unless we sign somebody in that position, I think that somebody's got to go and grasp it. Somebody's got to go and grasp it, and I don't think he'll get as many opportunities to grasp it as the senior players alongside him. But I'd just like to see what he can do.
I should have said that first clip was about Philogene Badace, who's obviously at Stoke, and then Carney Chukwuemeka. We don't even know if he's going to sign a new contract or not. So, it's just strange looking back on that from only August that those 2 players we talked about as breaking through haven't really, and Ramsey wasn't mentioned at all.
No, I think we overlooked him, and I don't think we rated him as highly as what he could achieve this season, what he's gone on to do. So, I think looking back at that, I think we didn't take Ramsey seriously enough, which is a fair comment, I think. And Ramsey's really kicked on this season. I think Villa fans have been surprised by his emergence, knocking on the England senior door down last week. Big talk about him jumping in the group there, so that's huge. Considering him in his Premier League debut last November, 2020 was it? And he's really this season 6 goals to his name. He could end up as Villa's top scorer for a season. So Gerard's excited about him. We've seen him speak to BT Sport last week about Ramsey really showing himself in training and conducting himself. So I think we overlooked Ramsey. I think we really did. But I was excited by Philogene Badace from the last summer. Really stood out for me, and he's doing well at Stoke in the championship. So we'll see what his future holds in the summer. And Carney, I asked Gerard that question about Carney after Leeds in the press room. What's the latest with him? Is he going to sign a new deal? And talks didn't progress. So I think Carney just wants to sit down and see how his future's at in the summer. I know Dortmund are keen from reports overnight. And I think he wants to play. I think he wants it all now. He wants to play week in, week out, see what Ramsey's doing. But there's an element I think he should just relax a little bit. He's only 18, Carney. Massive future, like we know. But that'll get sorted out in the summer. But Carney's one big start against Brentford at home back in August. Did okay. I think he's made 8 substitute appearances, so he's ticked along quite nicely. He'll get to 10, 12 appearances before the season's out, probably. And who knows, Gerard could chuck him in for the games as the season ticks down, Dan, to have a really good look at him. And but we'll see. some important talks to be had in the summer regarding Carney, and we'll see what happens with Philogene and Bedice as well.
There's a part of me as a supporter here thinking that as much as any player could be as good as they could be or are, whether that's ability now or potential, if there's any kind of rumours, and it is only rumours about contracts and not quite wanting to be here, not sure whether this is the right thing and that kind of stuff, I think get rid of them. I'm quite ruthless about it. I want people invested in Aston Villa and invested in the idea of where things are going to play here. And I'm not suggesting that Carney Chukwuemeka might not be. Once these rumours about why a contract might not be signed start to flare up, I kind of think I'm not quite sure. Tim Irobenham signed a contract last week, I think it was, and you think, okay, that was sorted quickly. He's here, move on. Carney's dragged on. I was the kind of thing I'd be ruthless, get rid then if he's not fully invested. But you don't want to let a good player go if you don't have to. So hopefully that is resolved and benefits Aston Villa going forward. Yeah,
100%. Yeah, we seen what happened with Tim Irobenham last week. 2027 that he's contracted to now. I think Villa learned from their mistakes with Carney previously. But yeah, I think Villa were fully expecting Carney to sign his new deal on his 18th birthday last October. Didn't happen. Wanted some assurances over his game time, and I think he's looking out for number one himself, and you'll see where his future lies in the summer when talks happen again. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Ball's in his court. Obviously, Villa wanting to sign. Gerrard's told me that as well. But it'll be up to him. And for me, Dan, I think Villa's a good club to be at if you're a young player working under Gerrard as well. Gary McAllister, excellent midfield player in his day as well. So, and yeah, I think Gerrard's keen to give youngsters a chance. Look what he's done with Ramsey. He's kicked him onto a new level. So, ball's in Carney's court, and we'll see what happens with that one.
Let's go for underrated player of the season. Then I think, to be fair, you've come out of this one quite well. Which player is most underrated as it stands that could go on to have an important role next season?
Nakamba finished the season last season well, and he started pre-season really well. Gone under the radar. People won't have him in their starting 11s, but I think he could have a really good season. I think he's important to Villa. He's the only defensive-minded midfield man in there, and he's done well over pre-season, and that bodes well. And we'll see. But I think you asked me that question. My instant feeling was Nakamba. I think he could have a good season.
Yeah, I was going to say even Nakamba or Traore. I think he was absolutely dynamite at some point, some seconds last season. But when the fans came back against Chelsea, he just seemed to just thrive, and you're like, what is this? What is going on? But Nakamba, I think, is the honest to God answer. I mean, there's a role there open for him to take. Whether he does it or not is up to him. But he could talk Villa out of making a signing here.
Probably Traore, to be honest, because I think we've got that excited about the attacking options that we've got available. He's not going to want to suddenly disappear into the background, to be honest. So I think he's going to face a challenge to get into the starting lineup. But I think if he's coming on for 15, 20 minutes at the end of games, I think he'll be busting a gut to make an impact. Said so many times during the podcast last season that flaky wingers not delivering enough. And then you look at the numbers that he posted in his first season back in the Premier League, and gave us the sense that there was still more to come from him. So I don't think he's going to want to lie down and be forgotten about. I think he could still have an impact.
I think you could copy and paste everything you just said there about El Ghazi as well, unless he's the one that ends up leaving. Little caveat at the end there to say El Ghazi might leave to get me out of the hole. Traore, not happened for him. I think seven appearances, 6 off the bench, injuries as well is a big problem for him. I want to like him, but we don't get to see enough of him to make that judgment. And Nakamba, again, at one stage, I know he's been injured for a long time now, but he was performing well above what most people thought he probably could in that spell when Gerrard took over. So pretty good shout from you there early season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Villa were linked too heavily with defensive midfielders in the summer, and I thought they were going to go strong with Nakamba. Obviously, they changed the system, didn't they? It's 3-5-2 under Dean Smith, and Nakamba did really well. But it's a shame he only, I think, 8 starts and Nakamba's had 12 appearances before his injury. And I think he had 4 or 5 games under Gerrard, and he was the standout player. He allowed the attacking players to flourish because Nakamba was there to win the ball back for you and just play it simply, and he really thrived. So, yeah, a bit of a... Did Nakamba's injury derail Villa's season? Probably could look back at that and say,
yeah, I think
probably
so.
Did. So, yeah, good shout. Yeah, I quite like Nakamba. Hoping he'll be over his injury troubles now and be back for the remaining games. And, yeah, Bertrand Traore, like you say, Dan, we haven't seen too much of him at all. Back-to-back injuries. Just hasn't happened for him. We've seen him briefly last weekend against Arsenal coming on. Didn't do a fat lot there. And you just wonder about the wingers. Leon Bailey, another one. How they're going to fit into this compact system Gerrard likes? Will they be morphed into number 10s? Unsure. I'm really intrigued to see about the summer regarding Traore and Bailey, whether they stick around and whether they've got a future at Villa Park. Because two very talented players. I think they cost, £50 million between them, mixed. So it's a lot of money there to spend on two players, and both got real pedigree, but it's a shame we haven't seen too much of them this season. And yeah, it's one of them ones.
Let's go to Danny Ings and Ollie Watkins next then. This is the clip that sparked the idea to do this podcast, essentially. I saw it somewhere else about kind of pre-season predictions. And I said, there's no way we'd have said Ings and Watkins would be on 12 goals at this point. I'd have been disappointed if just one of them was on 12 goals at this point, never mind combined. So let's go back, rewind 6 or 7 months and see what we said about our new striking partnership.
What do you think? 30 between them both. Yeah. Ash?
I'll go 35.
Matt? 47. How old are you again?
Guessing my age? No, is that what's going on? 63. I don't know.
Yeah, over 30 between the two of them.
Should actually be genuinely calculating it
just trying to think about
Watkins got 14 last year. I think someone said he hit the post 7 times and had 3 ruled out for VAR, so
that 3 rubbish ones
doesn't work like that. But
Ings got 12 then or something like that.
Watkins could have got 20 plus last year in theory.
I'll go 35 again, then we've got a little bit of flexibility who gets what, haven't we?
35 there.
Overplayed that one, didn't we? Shocking.
I mean, we all did. If we'd have said 20, we'd have been wrong between them, and that would have been a very, very low guess back then as well. And there'll be people watching this now. It's very easy to laugh at us and go, "Oh, look at those idiots!" But everyone was saying 15 each or 10 and 20 or whatever. I think there was a stage later in the episode where it said, "Well, if they play well and work together, and Watkins gets 25 and Ings gets 0, you still count that as a decent partnership because they work together well." But yeah, where's my notes? Ings on 5, Watkins on 7, 12 for them both in the league. We're sat there in August going, we want 35. And if Villa perform and get top 6, you do have 2 goal scorers that score a good amount of goals. I don't think anyone would have thought they'd be on 12 come March. And it's a disappointing return, isn't it, when you reflect on it now?
Yeah, I've lost count how many podcasts we've had, Dan, as well, where we've said they can't play together. We've said that quite a lot. So that's been a big talking point amongst the season as well. Can they play together? Struggled of late. Gerrard has put the two of them in attack recently for the wins over Southampton, Leeds as well, and they worked all right together. But like you say, when Ings signed last summer, you're thinking, okay, got some firepower in this line now. Watkins will kick on again after his 14-goal season. You're thinking, come on then, there's goals in this team now, and the pair of them will really flourish. But yeah, it hasn't happened really. 2 of them been in and out the sides as well. Gerrard preferred Ings at one stage, and then he dropped Watkins for 2 games, and he come back in and scored. So yeah, massively overplayed that one. Both got a big reputation, done it in the Premier League before, and you're thinking they could do it again. But I think they'll be disappointed with their numbers this season. But like you say, 9 games to go, they can try and finish on a real high. So I hope that happens.
Yeah, I tweeted that earlier, and a couple of people said, "Oh, there's still time left for them to hit your target of 30 plus." I suppose this is one of the ones that we can kind of amend. So you and me get the chance to do so anyway. Yeah. There is 9 games left. They're on 12 at the moment. How many will they be on when we get to the end of the season?
Ooh, I'd like to see them chipping about 20. I think 20 should be a good number. You know what I mean? Another 8 goals between them. I mean, you want a bit more, but I think 20 will be a good ballpark for them to hit if they can do it.
Yeah, I think 20 is probably a reasonable target to set. Be not going to get 18 in the next 9. You wouldn't have thought anyway. 8 each, 9 each. A goal a game, yeah, maybe goal a game for them both. You never know, but yeah, let's aim for 20. I mean, that sounds more acceptable, doesn't it? If we aim for 30 and they both get 20, that's not a terrible return, but it's far less than anyone expected.
Yeah.
Where should we go to next? Where we'll finish? If you've got to put your neck on the line today, and we might still make further additions, where do Villa finish this season?
Ninth.
7th?
Yeah. I was going to split the difference and go 8th. I was going to say, I wish I said it first now, because it looks like I just...
I'm going to go 8th as well, yeah.
Fair play.
I think we'll be just outside.
You know what?
The best of the rest.
I'd be buzzing to be in that Europa Conference. I know a lot of people have slagged it off, that Europa Conference League. I'd be buzzing just to get knocked out by an Icelandic team.
So I said I thought we'd come out of that well. We haven't really, have we?
No.
Matt said 9th, and we're 9th at the moment. That's obviously not where we have finished. We could have saved ourselves a little bit by, if one of us had said 12th or 13th or something, we could have said, oh, look, well, we kind of, we weren't that sure. You said 7th, though, and it seems some way off for Villa to get anywhere near that now, doesn't it?
100%. Yeah, with 10 points off Wolves in 8th. And Gerrard has spoken about internal targets. They've got a place they want to finish. I think it might be 8th, But, I think they need to beat Wolves a week Saturday, claw the gap to 7 again, and hopefully try and pick Wolves to 8th. But massively overplayed that one as well. You're thinking last summer, you're thinking they recruited well, signing players for 30 million quid, and you're thinking, okay, we lost Grealish, the over dependency on him. Villa can kick on now. Do you know what I mean? They've got a more rounded squad. I think they added quite well, but looking back, it failed to work out that way. Injuries have cost Villa a little bit as well. But this is where they want to get to, and it's that jump from mid-table to the top 6 now. That's the biggest jump. Villa have jumped massively in recent seasons, haven't they? They've gone from Championship, survival, 11th last season, and then it's this jump now that's the hardest one of all. So next season will be the 4th year of the well-documented 5-year plan under the owners, and the end goal there in 2023 is European qualification. So, like you say, coming around to a big summer again, and I think we need to be knocking on the doors, the top 6, 7 next season for sure. So, I think Villa are where they are for a reason, Dan. I think they've equalled the tally for losses last season, 15 with 9 to play. So, hasn't happened for them. Change of manager in November, and like you say, I think they had a decent January, and they're trying to tail off this season quite well. So we'll see. But like you say, the results against West Ham and Arsenal previously, that just shows you the gap at the moment. And Villa are mid-table outfit at the moment.
Is the 5-year plan or the Villa project or whatever you want to call it, is that still on course? Are we still on course for where the owners want us to go?
I think so. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like it's just we've only seen improvement. So, look, this season hasn't even kicked the ball yet, and whatever happens, but I feel like we have made that progress and we're on course.
Fair, a lot better than Tony Jar's 5-year plan.
Where's the roller coasters?
Exactly, yeah. Even if this I'm not trying to write this season off, because I've got high hopes for it, but even if this season is a fair to middling maintaining of what's so far, I think the plan's still on course, isn't it?
Yeah, because you're more likely to go from, what was it, 17th, 11th, 10th, 6th, than 17th, 11th, 6th. It's an extra season, but it's more realistic, mate.
I think what will show whether the plan's on course is how Villa can cope with setbacks. For me, it will show that the project is about a way of working. It's about a system. It's about a method. It's about a way of recruitment. It's about a culture that you're bringing. It's not about an individual at all. And we need to test that theory of showing that without Jack Grealish.
Taking a bit of credit for that one to suggest it might take an extra season longer than we all thought.
Interesting stuff.
17th to 11th to 6th, Matt was probably a little bit silly, wasn't it? There was another clip that we'll play later where Matt kind of suggested, feels like we have to get Europe this year. And we talked about, would it be a disappointing thing to not get that? But it does take a longer time to build, doesn't it? And you mentioned that gap between where we are now and where we want to be. And it is a big gap, isn't it? It's not something that you change overnight, or rarely it's changed overnight. I know people compare us to West Ham, that they've finished down the bottom end of the table, and now they're right up there in Europa League quarterfinals, and think, that could have been us. But it doesn't always work like that, does it? You have to be a little bit patient sometimes. And if next season is the year that we break into some kind of European competition, we'll say, well, that's progress year on year, and what's to argue with that?
Yeah, like you said, Villa have been really inconsistent this season, from one result to another, and that's and they're mid-table for a reason. But I think changing the manager, I think new methods, the players. I think Gerrard last week at Arsenal down, he said players are lacking the belief to go out and carry out the game plan I instructed on them. So he called a few out without naming them. I think they've lacked a little bit of belief of late against the big clubs. I think Gerrard said the players are waiting for stuff to happen. So there's a bit of a mentality issue at the moment amongst a few of them. And like you say, with the top 6 in the so-called elite clubs, that they have a winning mentality. And I think in the summer, Gerrard wants to bring in winners, proven winners, like he did with Coutinho. Luka Dean's a winner as well. Callum Chambers has been decent addition. And he'll shape his squad how he wants it. I asked Gerrard last week about the summer, just how important is it. He couldn't stress it enough. To really get amongst the group and filter out the ones that the so-called weaker players, and get all the players to buy into it. Fresh season, he'll have money to spend again from the owners, and there'll be no excuses next season. Obviously, the changing manager in November didn't help matters. I think Matt said in that clip then it will depend how Villa deal with setbacks, and I think that was setbacks quite badly in the Canberra, his injury.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think it all points to a big summer. And like you say, in your prediction, I think it's got to happen next season for sure.
Yeah, let's talk about what our definition for success was, because this is something that we'll again talk about in this summer, and we'll all be saying what you just said. It has to be this year that we get into Europe. So if we're saying the same things in summer 2023 that we didn't make it has to be 2024. You can't just keep pushing it back. You have to change something at some point. So let's go back again to August and see what our definitions of success for Villa this season would be back then.
What is your definition of success for Villa in 21-22? Come to you first, Matt.
Probably Dean Smith's still been in charge.
Yeah.
Because if we fail, it won't be. I want to win something. League Cup would do. Finish higher than last season. Hopefully win a trophy of sorts.
More points, 55 as last season. Prove that by 10, 65, be there or thereabouts.
We'll be in the top four if we get 65.
Oh, yeah, just more points on the board, and just everyone's come away from Villa Park week by week and enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed going down there, and as long as the enjoyment factor's there, everyone's happy with the way they're playing. If it doesn't happen one week, you get beat one week, okay, you win the next, and look, Dean Smith's doing the job, doing something well there, and let's go deep in the FA Cup. That got taken away from us last season. FA Cup, you know what I mean, because of COVID. So good crack at that. I'll be happy, and just finishing a little bit higher. I've done set myself too high, saying top 6 and all that, but more points on the board. Can I be progress?
Pretty telling clip, isn't it? With the benefit of hindsight, Dean Smith's still been in charge, gone in November. Good run in the FA Cup, out in the first opportunity in the first round. Win a League Cup maybe, out against Chelsea on penalties. Still finishing higher than last season is obviously still to be seen, but from our definitions, this season has been a failure. It's been unsuccessful.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see if Purslow does he does end of season video, doesn't he, to address fans and looks back at the season review. So I'd be intrigued to see how he rates this one, because I think Purslow's last summer he looked at it with last season with regret, given that Villa just faded away, didn't they?
Yeah.
In the new year, Jack Grealish injury and stuff like that. So he really thought Villa were on course for European football last season, and Purslow spoke of his not anger but disappointment at Villa just slipping away when they did. So they had a big recruitment drive in the summer. Hasn't worked out that well. And it's been a season of change, really, hasn't it? And Gerrard's at the helm now. And on the whole, do you say it's been a disappointment, Dan? Been a failure this season, or it's hard to say, isn't it?
I think so. Obviously, there's still 9 games to go. I still think finishing in the top half after losing Grealish, and especially even if you just said losing Grealish and signing 2 or 3 new players, I still think that's pretty good to get in the top half. The fact that we've went on a losing run, sacked the manager, got Gerrard in, who's never managed in the Premier League before, and still managed to sneak into the top half, even if it's 10th on goal difference. I still think that's a pretty, in a weird way, that's still a success, because it's better than last year and it's signs of progress. I think to really say this season was unsuccessful or a failure by our own definition was to be involved in a relegation scrap again. And maybe at one stage it looked like that could have been the case. But if we finish 16th or something this year, you think Villa aren't going anywhere here. So part of me still feels like if you do get into the top half, or for some reason, let's say you finish 12th, but you get more than 55 points, so it's better than last season, I still think part of me thinks that's success and something to build on with a new manager for next year. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, totally agree with you, 100%. That'll be the remit next summer to really kick on. And 9th for first top half finish in over a decade. So you've got to look at the pluses there. Yeah. Another plus, like we mentioned, Jacob Ramsey's emergence. That's been a massive plus. Players-wise, individually, there hasn't been too much to shout about, has there really? Coutinho, that's been a great sign, got a great addition. I thought the January window as a whole was very good.
Yeah.
And with McLaren blue tinted glasses on.
Martinez signed a new deal, didn't he?
Martinez long-term deal. So I think Gerrard's brought something different as well. I've liked Gerrard's management. I think results have been decent. Performances against the big teams have been good. And of late, I've just missed out on the gap with Arsenal and West Ham. But big summer needed, Dan. And I'm trusting Gerrard to really do well next season.
The last clip that I've got for this, it was near the very start of the podcast. I don't know what the conversation was with the first question, but Matt basically said that I feel like we need to get Europe now to avoid losing out on our current squad.
I don't know whether this summer has made me think we need to move a little bit faster, because I don't want to happen what's happened this summer. I don't want our best players to be cherry-picked. I want us to keep pace with their ambitions. I thought we could do that with Jack Grealish. Perhaps I was being naive, but I think we need to get in Europe this season, which to me creates... We're really excited about the options that we've got and the signings that we've made, but it comes with there's no real bedding in period. I think James, in his pre-season preview, put that he thinks there could be teething troubles before we get up and running. I'm not sure we can afford those teething troubles, really. So I think, as exciting as it is, I think it comes with a lot of pressure, because I don't think we want to feel that feeling that we felt this summer of feeling that our best assets have been ripped away from us.
Matt talked about possibly losing the best players. You mentioned Watkins and people like that. Like, they haven't performed to the levels they hit last season either.
True.
So I think Matty Cash is interested from Atletico Madrid there. So depends what happens with him. He's had a decent season, Matty Cash. But yeah, all the others mentioned that they haven't really pulled up any trees, to be honest. There's been no real standout player other than Ramsey, like we've said. So they've got to really kick on next season as well for their own careers. Do you know what I mean? So that they've got aspirations to play in Europe, and if they're going to do that, they really got to improve. So yeah, I think a few have performed way below the usual standards, the standards that we grew to them to see. So yeah, they really need to kick on now. With Watkins, and McGinn's been inconsistent. You can go from the brilliant to the bad. I think McGinn's been decent value this season, but on other occasions, I think we need to really improve again. So there's a few you can mention. Conser hasn't really been his best this season either. And in order for them to push Villa forwards, that they've got to improve. And Gerrard will look at that in the summer as well. He'll bring in more help in terms of recruitment as well. And the recruitment policy will be under scrutiny in the summer, given Villa have signed. I mean, the decisions made last season. Bailey hasn't worked out really. Ings jury's still out on Ings, and players like that. So yeah, we'll see. But I think we talk about European football, Dan, like we have done, like it's an easy thing to do. It's not easy at all. Premier League's hard league, so it's not going to be a gimme for Villa. So you've got to see signs of improvement big time from starting in August when the season starts again.
There's a couple of comments suggesting they'd sell Watkins now, and which is again the benefit of hindsight. That a great point you just made there is that the players that were worried about losing have dipped their standards essentially from last year. So, if you just said back in August to sell McGinn or to sell Watkins, you'd be thinking, that's going to rip Villa's side up. But you'd be looking at selling 7 goal a season Ollie Watkins this year, and you'd probably think, okay, well we can replace him and do better. The one that you'd be worried about, Emi Martinez, who's a genuine world-class goalkeeper, has signed a new contract this season. So if players leave because they've underperformed this year and we get decent money for them, you sit on the sidelines as a fan and say, yeah, fair enough, right, we move on, we're still here, we go again kind of thing. So yeah, I think that was a pretty decent episode, I think, to fill the international break. I quite enjoyed that. I didn't enjoy looking back at myself, because I think I've gained a little bit of weight since the summer. And Matt Kendrick has halved in size. He looks a totally different guy in those videos, I think.
Yeah, it does, like you say. He's lost loads of weight, Matt. Fair play to you.
Yeah, I want that to be me next summer. I want to be the one that's lost a load of weight. But yeah, Ash, thank you very much for your time, as always. Like I said, we can amend ours a little bit and look at the end of the season, see if Watkins and Ings don't even get 20, we look silly twice. So there is that risk.
Come on,
thanks to everyone for watching along live and getting involved in the comments as usual. We do appreciate it. And anyone watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify and anywhere like that, do leave us a review, comments, those kind of things. They really do help. But yeah, thank you very much for watching or listening. We'll be back, I don't know, maybe earlier next week with something else, maybe an international review or something. I don't know. We'll work that out. It sounds depressing, doesn't it, when you say it out loud? But if not, like a preview for Wolves will be the next thing that we do. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again soon. Thank you for listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please do let us know. We love hearing your feedback. We'll be back soon with another episode, but until then, up the Villa.